All right, welcome to Under Construction, our premiere episode here. And before we get started and introduce our guest, I just want to kind of talk about what the show is about. So typically with podcasts, what we get is guests that have achieved some kind of excellence in a field, that are at the top of their craft, that have done something extraordinary. I kind of wanted to turn that on its head and have a podcast that's about that phase of becoming. You haven't yet achieved something great, but you have all of these goals and things that you're shooting after, and you're in those formative years of your life where the decisions you make now coming out of childhood and into adulthood will start to have ramifications for the rest of your life. So this is going to be targeted for those 18 to 24s out there from all different walks of life, whether you're a student, you just started a career, whether you own your own business. We're going to be talking to people from all different walks of life. So with that said, I'd like to introduce our first guest, a man that needs no introduction, my brother, Andrew Klimovich.
Hello, how's it going? Andrew Klimovich. I'm the host's younger brother, 19 years young, going to be 20 in November. I attend the University of Tennessee, and I'm studying finance there. Might switch it up to accounting. We'll see how it goes.
Wow, you beat me to the punch there. So For someone listening who doesn't know, how would you describe yourself other than where you go to school and what you're majoring in? What are some personality traits? How would you describe yourself?
I'd say I'm a loyal guy, loyal to my friends, family, everybody, very loyal. Some things I like to do in my free time. I like to watch a lot of movies, a lot of TV shows. I enjoy that. Going through a bunch of different TV shows, rewatching some. I just started reading. I didn't just start. I've been able to read for quite some time, but I just started, reading some books again, doing some thriller mysteries. It's kind of what I like to do. I like to hang out with my friends, my girlfriend.
All right, there we go. And how would your friends describe you?
I think they say I'm a pretty stand-up guy. Kind of funny, have a good comedic presence to the group that I add. Sometimes get a little bit wild. Who knows? Who knows what happens?
All right, and then lastly here, what's one thing that if people were looking at you, they might misunderstand?
I've been told a lot of the time that I kind of have an RBF.
Really?
Yeah, I've come across that many times. A resting bitch face. They say it's they say I look angry off the jump, but that's not really how I am. I'm kind of a warm, welcoming guy.
Yeah, I wouldn't say you're an angry guy at all.
Yeah.
All right, so let's break the ice a little. I'm going to put you on the hot seat.
Hot seat.
It's going to be a segment. We're going to just do rapid fire questions. I want first responses in your brain. Don't deliberate. Don't think too much. You ready?
All right, let's go.
All right, what's the most Matt thing I've ever done?
Correct my grammar.
Correct your grammar.
Or pronunciation of a word.
Okay, this kind of goes in tandem with that. What's an annoying habit that I have?
That's definitely one. Stealing my charger is another one. That's a more recent one.
Yeah.
We haven't had a chance to talk about that
Yeah.
yet. I'll bring it up here. You have been taking my charger.
You're right. I have been.
That is annoying.
But with the mics, actually, I got a new charger with that, so I'm just going to...
You're good now?
I'm going to phone Max
Okay.
and use the charger for that.
Perfect.
All right, something you used to think was cool that you no longer think is cool.
Fire.
Fire?
Yeah.
You would say you no longer think fire is cool?
Not as cool as I once did.
Okay, yeah.
I find it enjoyable.
Yeah,
but
you had like a fire out.
I think like playing with fire is not everything it's said to be.
Is there I'm thinking of a specific story that may have led you to that point.
That is, I believe, 11, 12, I did light a tissue on fire through a candle, burnt a good chunk of my thumb. That kind of ended my experiences of playing with fire.
With fire.
You're not supposed to, and they warned you, but I didn't listen.
Yeah, there's a whole saying and everything.
Yeah.
All right, so other than burning yourself with fire, what's an embarrassing moment from your life?
An embarrassing moment? It's gonna be.
We're all friends here on the pod.
We are. I try to block those out the best that I could, but about 8 months ago or so, during the winter, me and some of my friends went up to Montreal, and I was asked politely to leave the casino that I was playing at, through, I didn't do anything much, but I'd just say that was a little embarrassing. In front of my friends, they're like, "All right, he's got to leave."
Yeah, that's a rough one.
Maybe I was winning too much. Who knows?
It could have been that. Legally, by the way, Canadian, so it's fully legal.
Yeah.
Disclaimer there. Okay, a useless talent you have. I feel like you're full of useless talents.
I did have a lot at one point, and they're kind of dwindling now. I learned how to solve a Rubik's cube. I think I forgot that. I could juggle like smaller fruits, not balls. I could do lemons and limes. That's pretty. You don't get to show that
You
off
think it's
too
the
much.
oblong shape that
That does help. Yeah, you don't
Okay.
want the perfect sphere or anything.
makes it tough?
Yeah.
All right, and then lastly, a hill you would die on.
A hill I would die on. That's a tough one. I'm thinking definitely somewhere in the cinema industry. I'd have to go off of. Probably just, Remember the Titans. This is a great movie. That's something I'd stake my reputation on through everything with the story, the character building, the music,
Certainly
the
a top
soundtrack.
soundtrack. Yeah,
I
it
mean,
has to
the
be.
whole movie's spectacular, but if anyone would like to argue, find me.
Wow, that was great. All right, ice is definitely broken. So here we're getting to the meat and potatoes of the podcast. This is actually why I wanted to start it, and I just had a realization when I was driving home the other day that we don't get podcasts from our kind of points of view, our generation's point of view. Where we're watching other people that have done all these things and they're trying to sell you, live the way I live, see my success. But we're not getting the people that are actually in the mud trying to build a life. You're a little younger than I am, but still you have a vision for the future. You have a vision for how things are. So I just kind of wanted to get into that. And that journey of becoming who you want to be is through experience. So I want to know, what are some core experiences that shaped you and shaped the goal image of what you want to be?
Well, some of the goals I have is, building a strong community to center myself around. And I'd say one of the experiences that shaped that was playing football when I was younger.
Mm-hmm.
Playing football, you always have a sense of community with your teammates and coaches and stuff like that. So even if it's just like that, you kind of transform that into your adulthood when you build a community with your family, your loved ones, maybe even your neighbors or coworkers, stuff like that. I always want to have a strong community around me that could help me in times of struggle, or I could help them.
So what do you think right now in your life community looks like?
Community right now looks a lot. In college, it's mainly just, your classmates, the people you're in lectures with, or the people you hang out with. If you're in Greek life, maybe your fraternity brothers or sorority sisters. It also includes the older students. I'm going into my sophomore year now, so I definitely want to try to build these relationships with these older students who have more experience than me at that school. Maybe if they've gotten internships or jobs, they could help me look for that. And then I'd love to do the same thing for the younger generation of students coming in. So I think community in college is really just getting to know as many people as you can and just trying to build experiences with them.
Yeah, so that's like a networking perspective kind of. It's not what you know, it's who you know. What I thought of when you said that, like the networking angle, it made me think that a lot of relationships, especially at your age, my age too, are presupposed by shared values, shared traits. But I think some of them tend to be like misaligned. You know what I'm getting at there?
Elaborate a little more?
Like we're building houses on the sand rather than on the firm foundation. A lot of relationships at 19 and at 22 are based around going out together, drinking together. Maybe there's some sense of like a popularity aspect, like you're still trying to appease a social circle. What are like the core tenets of not just like a greater community, but your tight knit community, your close friends? Do you think you're building your relationships on principles and shared values, or is it more so just like your buddies because you live close and you like the same teams and those kinds of interests?
I think that's definitely how a majority of friendships are built, through like slight shared interests like that. But I'd say as you meet all these people, you kind of like are able to focus on the people who have those shared principles as you,
Mm-hmm.
or maybe same religious beliefs, something like that, that you could build on together.
It's kind of like the wheat and the chaff thing. Like you just let them grow up together, and then they'll identify themselves after a while.
Just about. But
Yeah,
that doesn't mean you can't be friends with
of
someone who has
course.
different beliefs than you.
Right.
You can still go out, go out drinking or watching sports with them or
Yeah.
something like that, even though they might not have the same ideologies as you do or something like that.
Yeah.
But for that close knit of friends, you definitely want people who have shared values.
So do you think at where you're at right now, maybe start thinking next 6 months, year, 2 years post grad, do you see your circle getting bigger or smaller?
Coming out of freshman year, you kind of have a big circle.
Hmm.
You met a lot of people over the years or over the year, and you might not be that close with all of them, but you're starting to form your kind of close knit community. And I think over the next 6 months or year, I could see my circle kind of dwindling down in some ways, but I could also see it like getting larger if I'm maybe going out with more people, a bunch of new people, but that doesn't mean that I'm not, talking to and focusing on my close knit friends.
Yeah. One more note on friendship, kind of. Like, I love the iron sharpening iron concept, right? Like, you have a lot of relationships in your life that you're self aware they're making you worse. You know? You can also have select relationships where it's like, this person pushes me to be more. What are some of those relationships in your life? Like, feel free to name them that you're driving each other to be the best versions of yourself.
Well, I'd definitely say my relationship with you has driven me to better myself in any way I can. I'd also say my relationship with my friend Shane is pushing me to become better. We work together.
Shout out Shane Vellante.
Shane Vellante, come on the pod whenever, if you want. But even if it's things as stupid as like naming like college football players, who can name more?
Yeah.
It's always a sense of like competition in that way.
Right.
And you never want to lose in a competition.
Yeah.
So even with little things like that, you see yourself how you're competing against each other and you're kind of building each other up to be the best versions of yourself that you
Yeah.
can be. So I think it's very important to have those relationships in your life.
Especially in male friendships, right? Like, I think in female friendships, maybe it's more of like a support thing that they need. I'm not speaking from experience. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about, but maybe they might rely on them for more like emotional support. Whereas a male friendship, it's almost the opposite. You want a friend that's going to be stern with you, call you out when you're doing something wrong.
Yeah. And I feel like there's nothing wrong, throwing jabs at each other.
Of course,
That's always good.
you have to.
Good banter.
All right, so I want just one select moment in your life, or maybe a sequence of moments that just changed who you were at your core.
I'd say finding my way back to the church in my, I never really left the church, so to say, but, I was baptized, I made communion, confirmation, and then I wouldn't really go to church as much. But then when I grew up a little bit, I started going on Sundays. Then when I got my license, I was able to drive myself and go. So I'd say just finding my way back to mass in general,
Mm-hmm.
you know, I feel like that has definitely shaped me to be who I am now.
Absolutely. I think a lot of people in this age range, that 18 to 24, are having like a radical coming back to faith. Like, people are asking questions, they're curious, there's that longing in their heart. But what is it other than attending the mass? What is the inward conversion that's happening as you're attending the mass more, as you're closer to Jesus? Is your prayer life waking up? What characteristics in yourself do you see brought out by that conversion?
I feel like prayer is definitely something very important that has changed my life. I feel like I'm building my relationship with Christ and I'm able to pray and speak to him. And I just feel like that makes me reflect on myself like more frequently.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I'm able to like look at my life and be like, "Oh, was I living very Christ-like this week?" And I can reflect and see maybe I wasn't, maybe I was, see what I need to improve on specifically.
Yeah, brings like a whole another level of like responsibility to your life. That awareness is really, I'd agree, that's very important. All right, so kind of similar, maybe a little different here. A growing up moment for what could be that moment where you realized maybe you haven't even had it yet. No one's coming to save you. This is my life. I'm the master of my own destiny kind of situation.
I'd kind of say like my first weeks at college, you're separated from your family, your friends that you've grown up with. You're kind of on your own
Mm-hmm.
at that point in your life. And I think it was a great experience for me to be able to be like, all right, I could kind of live on my own. I'm still going to the dining hall,
Yeah.
still have a place to live. I don't need to be, fending for myself out there. But it was kind of I was on my own
Mm-hmm.
for those first couple weeks. And I feel like, and then I got to build my friendships up with people. I would, talk to my professors, and then I had that like guidance that I needed. But those first few weeks when I was on my own, I realized like, this I'm on my
Yeah,
own.
it's
Yeah.
just you. What are some of the struggles that may have came with that? Did you feel it could have been like a loneliness thing? Like you were just longing for connection, maybe a little homesick? Was there any literal things you didn't know how to do that you had to learn to do for yourself? Or just any struggles that you associated with that time?
I mean, I was definitely a bit homesick at first. You're missing all your friends and your
Yeah.
family and stuff like that. And then it's kind of like the little tedious tasks that you have to do living on your own. Like I don't do my own laundry. My mom does that for me, so that's something I had to do. I mean, I knew how to do it, but still annoying. It was just those little things, like, all
Not
right,
proud of it, man enough to say it.
yeah,
Hand up.
I'll put the hand up there. You know, make my bed. Every couple months, who knows? But it was just those little things that you're on your own, but you get through it.
On the flip side, what doors were opened by that independence? I know for me, when I got to school, it was like a renewed sense of independence. It wasn't just responsibility. It was, man, I can really do anything with my time now. And I had such a blast just making my new routine, and it was based purely around myself at the time.
Yeah.
Me and Matt at Carolina, we had a good little system going. Classes, studying, gym, dining hall, just the basics. But the basics seemed so fun when you were making it for yourself.
Yeah, definitely. I love doing, kind of whatever I want
Yeah.
whenever I wanted. I would go to class, but class isn't 24/7. You don't have to study 24/7. You have a lot of free time
Yeah.
on your hands, and it's just you're choosing what you want to do with it.
All right. So you finish your freshman year out. You're, getting queued up to start your sophomore year.
Yep.
What are some habitual things that, you don't want to replicate that you did last year and that you do want to instill that you hadn't?
Well, this year's a little bit different for me. I'm going to be living at the fraternity house, so I'll be living with 40 other guys all
Dude,
around
dream.
all time. Not quite, but it'll be fun. We got a pool table there, so I feel like some things that I'm bringing in this year that I'm really excited for is I might not be like watching a movie or watching TV as much as I did last year.
Mhm.
That took up a lot of my time last year. Like this year, I kind of want to hang out with the guys more, so to speak. Play pool or watch a movie with them or something. We also have a gym downstairs that I'd love to be able to go to every day. I think that's a big habit that I want to keep going with, going to the gym and you know
Yeah, definitely. All right, so this podcast is definitely targeted at Gen Z, the problems surrounding Gen Z. Each individual, ideally, will have conversations with all these different life paths. We'll be able to see what's different from person to person, what's the same. In your eyes, what are some challenges or struggles facing our generation as a whole that we just got it wrong on? Like, what's something Gen Z is, we've got it backwards?
I mean, I don't want to sound too hypocritical when I say this, but I feel like college kind of. I think we got too many people going to college. I don't think everyone needs to be in college if you're
Mhm.
not a college person. If I don't know. I don't even know if I'm a college person,
Yeah.
but here I am at college because
Right.
that's what I've been told to do all my
Exactly.
life. I think that's something that we definitely need to reflect on and kind of think like, is this something that's necessary for you to get a good job or do what you want? I mean, everyone says it's about the experiences, which
Right.
definitely a huge part of it, but I feel like you could still have experiences outside of college
Probably a
during
lot
these
more.
years.
Probably a
Yeah.
lot more experience, honestly. Why do you think we're being funneled into colleges?
It's a Ponzi scheme.
It's
I
a
mean,
Ponzi.
it's a money scheme.
Right.
These colleges are charging a lot. We're going there, we're having fun, we're learning something, and then we
I
get
guess.
we get a piece of paper, and then it says, all right, now you can get a job.
Right.
That's not how it should be. That's not how it always was, but that's how it is now.
Mm-hmm. Right. What about on a values level? Why is Gen Z different? What makes us unique? This could be positive or negative, because like it or not, this generation is going to be in charge of running the world in a couple of years, right? We're gonna be presidents. We're gonna be business owners. Does that scare you? Does that encourage you? What are your thoughts?
It does both. You never know what the future is going to hold, but I mean, you see a lot of older people running things now, and you might not like how that's done. It might be good to get some young blood in there,
Mm-hmm.
change things up a little bit. I don't really know what the future is going to hold for this generation, but I feel like some problems we, face with our values or we might have a sense of a little entitlement. We don't, you don't deserve or you haven't earned anything yet,
Mm-hmm.
or you might not have. And that's just not going to be given to you. You have to work for it. So I think our generation does need to become a little hard workers, and that's not speaking for everyone out there, but that's just
Yeah.
something I've noticed on my path.
Yeah, I think that's definitely true. What's the recourse there? How do we take that ship and turn it around
That's a tough call. I
other than
mean,
just throw them in the fire and see?
I think you really got to look at it and say I'm either going to get my nose in the dirt and
Yeah,
figure something out, or I'm going to have to rely on everyone else to do everything for me.
right. That's true. That's a rude awakening, and that's due. I guess this is kind of in the same vein. Everyone wants to be a good person, right? We hear that word all the time. But I'm a good person. What does it mean to be a good person? What does it mean to be a good man to you?
All right. Well, we both just saw The Odyssey,
Yeah,
right?
great
You
movie.
know,
Great movie. Go watch The
fantastic movie.
Odyssey.
But they said Zeus's law in that
Right.
movie, and that was referencing, they were saying you should treat like these beggars, these people who are homeless, as you would treat the gods, because they might be a god in disguise.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's great. That's the golden rule: treat
Yeah.
others how you want to be treated. I think that's all it really comes down to.
As simple as that.
And sometimes all that takes is a deep breath and 5 seconds of like thinking. Maybe I'm screaming at someone because they cut me off in the middle of the road. I don't know what they're going through.
Right.
Maybe they're rushing home because something happened. You just got to kind of stop, take a deep breath, and think, like, why am I treating someone this way?
Mm-hmm.
Should I be treating them better?
Right. That's definitely good. Purpose. Purpose can mean a lot of different things to a lot of different people. Off the top of my head, status is a big purpose, a big driver of a lot of people. Money, legacy, happiness.
Yeah.
Happiness might be the most dominant view of what purpose is in modern times, right?
Yeah, because I think happiness ties into a lot of those other ones.
Right.
People think if I have this legacy, I'm going to be happy. If I have all this money, I'm going to be happy. I think that's a driving force for a lot of people.
Right. So, two-part question. What is that happiness we're chasing? Is it the correct aim? And B, what is purpose to you right now, at your age, at your time? What does purpose mean?
Well, purpose to me right now is, kind of just forward thinking. Like my purpose right now is to go to school,
Mm-hmm.
to get good grades, to make some friendships, some connections, and then graduate. And now that might be my main focus as a college student, but I think there are a lot of other purposes that I have that I should also focus on. My religion being one of them, going to the gym, trying to get into good physical shape, something like that. And also focusing on your emotional relationships with other people, all your friendships, maybe your girlfriend, something like that. I think it's very important to focus on relationships right now. I think that should be a lot of people's
Yeah.
purposes. And then to go back to that happiness is that or end goal. And I mean, I feel like I'd be hypocritical to say, like, no, I'm not chasing happiness. I definitely am. I'm trying to be a happy person. I'm
Right.
trying to enjoy my experiences and live life, but I don't want that happiness to be at a cost to someone else or to myself.
Mm-hmm. So I kind of go back and forth on the happiness being the main driver of life, because I think if you try to live a life of joy, you will live a virtuous life, right? Like if you intellectually and honestly approach it that I want to live a joyful life, you will treat others with respect, right? You will work hard when you really understand what joy is about. And I mean joy not in the sense of like vanity and pleasure seeking, but true peace and love. So I think when you frame it like that, maybe it's possible that happiness is the aim. But if we're seeking an emotion, if we're seeking that dopamine, the serotonin hit, like that's just going to be filled with whatever is next that's harmful to you now.
I completely agree. I don't want it to be at harm to myself or someone else.
Right.
You might be happy if you're going out six nights a week, getting hammered,
Yeah.
and then
6-7 nights a week,
something around there. Just you might be happy doing that, but is that good for you at all? Like, probably not. You're not focusing on other things.
Yeah. So where do you think the role for a delayed gratification, or even the role of suffering, comes into with the purpose of life? Do you think it could reasonably be within someone's purpose to have to undergo suffering?
I think it definitely could be. Life is, you suffer in life sometimes. You have to go through those hard times to come out the other end a better person, and that's what it should make you.
Mm-hmm.
You should be able to fight through that difficult time and come out the other end better, rather than kind of whimpering away and like saying, oh, it's not my problem, or push it off on someone else. But you got to face that conflict or issue head on, whatever it may be.
And like you were saying before with the forward thinking, the best mental framework to be able to tap into is that framework of, oh, this challenge has just been presented to me. I'm grateful for that challenge for what it will bring me after.
Yeah.
Right? Being able to face a hardship saying, I know this is a purposeful hardship that I have to go through. Totally changes your mental frame from dragging your feet, man, this stinks, to, wow, I get an opportunity to go into something that's going to make me grow.
Yeah, and I mean it's tough to see a lot of things that way. It might be studying. I don't want to study. Why am I going to waste my time studying?
Mm-hmm.
Or I get to study for this test. I get to go to college. I get to do all this for that end goal. I have better grades than other people who didn't study. Or even if it's like going to the gym or something, like, oh, I don't want to go over to the gym, go drive or walk to the gym and then go work out for an hour. But I feel like it's tough for a lot of people to see that end goal.
Yeah. It's also easy for us here prescribing what a good life is. Let's just take a moment for like honesty. What are some ways in which you're not there right now? That you're apart from where you want to be?
Yeah, I'd say definitely a big thing is my like physical health. I need to get in shape. I mean that's the bottom line. There's
gotta figure it out.
No two ways about it. And here I am talking. You got to go through the hard times. I'm not going through the hard times right now. I got to figure that out.
Mm-hmm.
So that's definitely one of the ways. And then it's also, I might have all these goals built up in my head, even if they're little things like, oh, I got to clean out my car. I got to go clean my room. What am I doing instead? I'm scrolling on my phone.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could talk a big game right here.
Yeah, of course.
I'm not doing it.
Right. And I think a lot of people are in that same boat. And that's why I wanted to do this, to kind of expose to people, listen, no one knows we don't know what we're doing. He doesn't know what he's doing. I don't know what I'm doing. We're going to figure it out. We're all going to figure it out. You're having a tough time getting this started. You think it's a matter of, I just got to get this ball rolling, and then once I do, it's a habit, and then it's honor. Do you think there's something deeper there?
Me, I've done it before. I get the ball rolling, something little breaks it up. Then I can't get that ball rolling again.
Mm-hmm.
I think if I just need, like when I go back to school, I'm not going to have that many interruptions. I'll be able to build my own schedule. I think that'll be a great time for me to kind of lock in a little bit.
Yeah.
Like I was in my spring semester, and then go on spring break, come back, lose all my steam.
Yeah.
It's tough when you kind of get that little mix up in your schedule.
When that Chipotle's right around that corner.
Right around the corner. What are you going to do? You can't say no.
It's dangerous. All right. 5 years from now, where do you want to be? Right? Let's talk relational, career, of value-based as internally. And what are the roadblocks that's preventing you from getting there?
5 years from now, I'll be, what, 2 years out of college?
Yeah.
3 years out of college, maybe. I'd love to have a job. I think a roadblock with that is finding a job.
Yeah, there you go.
Got to go find one. Probably got to get an internship first, something,
Mhm.
some little resume builder. But that's definitely one of the roadblocks. Is there going to be job opportunities for me? That's something I got to be able to push through and say, this is why I'm the best candidate. This is why I'm the person you should hire. So in 5 years for my employment, job. I need one of those.
Yeah.
Probably going to be living back at home, which I'd love to do that. Save some money a little bit. Relationships. I have a girlfriend right now, 2 years. I'd love to keep that one going. see how it pans out. Friendships I want to keep up. I'd keep in touch with some college buddies by then. My hometown friends, love to keep going with them. And then, attend mass on Sundays. Really work on getting more into prayer, and I'd love to continue reading.
Yeah.
I've been 2 books down the past couple weeks.
There we go.
I'd love to keep
Momentum's
that
building.
going.
Momentum's building.
Yeah.
Realistic fiction guy over here.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
love it.
Love the realistic.
You love it. You love the creativity. Could you see yourself being a writer?
A writer? I was thinking about this the other day because I've been reading.
They know.
I think I told them once or twice. I don't think I could be a writer, but I think I could be a good idea guy. You know how in school
You got good ideas.
you do like the little plot mountain?
Yeah.
I think I could fill those out for
Yeah.
a writer. I could give you some good bones for a story, and then all you got to do is add the fluff.
Yeah.
I can't,
You're
I
no
can't
fluff
write
guy,
that
no.
out. I got the main plot points. I think I could get down.
Yeah.
I could
agree.
toss some twist in there, and then I just need to find someone who could add the fluff.
Yeah. I could be a fluff guy.
You could,
I could
but
be-
you're
I could
not a big
definitely-
realistic fiction guy.
No.
You're not into the mysteries and the
No.
thrillers.
Yeah, no. I don't think I have the aptitude.
I think we'd
for
have a
that.
lot of creative differences.
Yeah, we would.
Yeah.
It would be a hostile environment for sure. All right. A life-changing lesson that you've learned.
Life-changing
It
lesson.
could be small, it could be big. You heard this, you never went back the other way.
Like someone told me this?
Told you, learned experience, anything. A lesson you learned that changed things for you.
I just think one is, trust can never be rebuilt the same way. You
Right.
trust someone, they break that trust. They could apologize. They could do what they may to get you to forgive them. You could forgive them, but it's never going to be the same relationship that it once was.
Right.
And that goes with friendships and everything.
Sounding like a Don over there.
Who?
You betrayed my trust.
Oh,
You betrayed my trust.
can't have any betrayal of trust.
No. Big loyalty guy.
I'm a huge loyalty guy. Love the loyalty.
Let's actually tap into that. I was gonna glaze over it. Let's go into that.
Go for the loyalty.
Loyalty. Is it more than just not betraying?
No. That's basic.
That's
Basic loyalty. I wouldn't even
It's
say you're,
basic.
I wouldn't even say you're loyal if you just don't betray. You're doing
Right.
the bare minimum. You got to be a guy
Okay.
that shows up whenever. You got to be a guy that you hear things. You let them know. You
You let
tell
'em
them
know.
what you heard. You're loyal to that person.
Right. And it's got to be clear loyalty.
Clear loyalty. the tricky part. Maybe you have two people you're loyal to, right? You got two people. One of them saying bad stuff about the other. Who
What
are
do
you
you
loyal
do?
to? You don't know.
You gotta have
You flip a coin or
priorities.
something. Yeah, you gotta
loyalty.
have a loyalty list.
A list of loyalty.
List of loyalty.
Yeah, that'll sort you.
Yeah.
All right. Something more people need to hear.
Something more people need to hear?
Yep.
I'd say just take a deep breath.
Take a deep breath.
Take a deep breath.
I like that. I think you're right about that. More people do need to hear. Take a deep breath. It's gonna be all right.
10 times throughout the day. You
10 times.
get a little frustrated. Reset. You're reset.
McKenna's over there off camera right now.
Yeah.
Giving
Rolling
some
her
looks.
eyes.
I think she's thinking that Andrew needs to take a couple more deep breaths. But that's a good one for sure. So I want to close like this, and this is how I plan to close all the podcasts going forward. With, say this thing works out. Right now we're sitting on a couch. We're downstairs in our house. It's a little silly. Say people like listening to this stuff, hearing people's stories, and I have you back on 5 years from now, 10 years from now, distant in the future. What's one thing you wish has changed in you since then, and what's one thing you wish hasn't changed?
I'm gonna sound like a broken record here.
Reading books?
Let me tell you, I want to keep reading books. I want to keep reading books.
Keep reading books.
Yeah.
I'm gonna title the pod that.
Yeah, keep reading books. But one thing I would, get better physical shape. That's something I'd like to change, and also just how I'm, like the words I'm saying. I'm speaking as someone who's unexperienced. I haven't really gone through all these paths of life yet. When I get back on, I'd love to be able to give advice. Give that advice to people, to younger people who might need it.
Right.
Share my whole college experience, what I finished with, the job I might have gotten, any advice on relationships or friendships I could bring. I'd love to be able to share more.
Right. Share more, be a role model, build into that sense of community you were talking about. Andrew Klimovich, he reads books, ladies and gentlemen.
I read some books.
Episode 1 in the books. Happy to have him on. Thank you, Andrew.
Of course.
See you back for episode 2 soon.
Have a good one.